Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Melissa, and yes, it's time to do the fall makeup trends. So I'm going to start off with some overall impressions that I had as a takeaway from my research, and then I'm going to quickly hit on a few trends that I was like, what the heck? Who thought that was a good idea? And then we'll get into some of the more serious trends, if you will. So first of all, there was not a lot of discussion about your complexion. You know, in the past, sometimes it's like dewy, it's matte, it's this, it's that. Really very little talk about complexion. And the other thing there wasn't a lot of talk about is blush and cheeks and all of that. So for my look today, I kept my cheeks really nude and natural. And of course, I will include links to all the products that I use today on my face, as well as anything else that I'm talking about in the description box below in case you want to just check it out. But I encourage you to shop your stash. Before I get too far down the road, if you're interested in looking at where I got my research, there will be a board on my Pinterest page, and you can go there and do a deeper dive if you want to, because I don't talk about everything. I talk about the trends that I feel are most translatable to the average woman, keeping in mind that a lot of these fashion shows are going for a very dramatic look because it is a show after all. So let's start off with the no-goes. The first one I'm going to talk about doesn't seem that crazy, but it's what they're calling a floating liner. And that's just where the liner is like above the crease. And it's just kind of hanging out on the face in an awkward place. And once again, that's something that looks like, oh, this woman doesn't know how to do her makeup. The next look is what they're calling the superhero look, which I just don't really have any words for this. I think it's kind of crazy. What do you think? And then I'm going to finish up with this glitter look. There was quite a bit of glitter shown on the eyelid, which I'll talk about a little bit later on, but also on the face. And there are some really questionable looks here. In the editorial, they were talking about how it really is a nod out to our obsession with glitter looks. And I'm not sure that's really entirely the case. Are we really obsessed with glitter looks? I don't know. But they seem to think we are. So there were these two shots that had all these, you know, full coverage glitter on the models' faces. But then I found this one, which was just a light sprinkling, which I thought was kind of pretty. In the right setting, maybe. At the right age, maybe. Maybe if you're young and you have a very specific kind of party you're going to, like maybe even like a New Year's Eve thing. All right, let's jump into the look I'm wearing today, which is a smoky eye. This was just universally everywhere. I don't think a smoky eye ever really goes away. In the photos that I pulled for this video, they're showing some really gorgeous looks, some like warm browns, some dusty grays, and even some metallics. This one in particular I think is so stunning. This model is gorgeous, where she has this gold look on her lid and they just smoke it out with like almost like a purpley gray in the outer V and a little bit under her eye. There was also a lot of this dark gray smoky eye look, but you can see the lids are not like solid darkness. They are a little bit brighter, which I think keeps it a little bit fresh. So for my look today, I jumped into this Marc Jacobs palette, which is a lot of grays. This is called the For the Luxe. And this, while this looks kind of blue in my viewfinder, I'm hoping that actually it'll be that pop of purple, because that is what I'm wearing under my lower lash line. And I am predominantly wearing this metallic-y gray shade. And another palette I think would be great for a smoky eye look is this one from Rimmel, the Magnifies Smoky Eye Edition. You know, if you stay down in this range, you could get a great smoky eye look with this one. So let's move on to the next trend, which they talked about brow tinting, and predominantly talking about some of the newer products out here that are like temporary tinting of the brow or the skin underneath the brow. You've probably seen a lot of videos where they paint this stuff on, they let it dry, and when they pull it off, it's like almost like a temporary tattoo for your eyebrows. They spent a lot of time talking about that. I don't own any of that. I've never used any of that. I do tint my eyebrows, but I do it a little bit more of a traditional way using color, and I'll include a link up here to a video that I did a while ago all about tinting my brows, and it hasn't changed. I still do it that way, and I love it. So glitter was huge in my research, and it presented itself in a lot of different ways. It presented as just straight up glitter, just applied to the lid, layered over eyeshadow, but it also presented in a way that it looked like jewels that were glued to the eye area to bring some emphasis up there. It does speak to an overall glitter trend where I think glitter, bring those glitters back out, reach into your collection and see about where can you incorporate a little glitter into your look. So I went through my palettes, I picked out a few that have some beautiful glitters in them, and I'm going to move them front and center on my desk. Basically, I'm going to just overhaul the palettes that I have that I can see every day for my makeup, and I'm going to replace them with just about everything I'm talking about today. I'm going to start off with one that I talked about so much on my channel, but I continue to love it. I think it's getting harder and harder to find. I think it's probably on its way out. It's this Japonesque pixelated color. All of these here are glitters, and I love using them. I usually concentrate them on my lid and then use these neutral tones just to do my crease, so it's not a glitter fest from brow to lash, but when you look down, it's all sparkly and fun. This is, as you know, one of my all-time favorite palettes. Then I have two palettes that are still available if you are interested in like a huge assortment of glitter. I think this one from Fenty, this was their holiday palette last year. I think it's a great glitter option. Even if you just stuck with some of the neutrals, these are neutrals that have a lot of glitter in them. So glitter doesn't always have to mean like super colorful. It can mean just a little sparkle in that neutral range. I think people really didn't understand this palette that much. I think it's beautiful. And I think there are a lot of options here. Yes, there is a lot of color here, but you don't always have to do color if you don't want to. And the last one I'm going to talk about is this one from Pat McGrath. This is the Mothership Subliminal eyeshadow palette. And it has a lot going on here, but definitely these three shades here are beautiful, shimmery goodness. No one does glitter like Pat McGrath, let me just say. It is also very pricey, so that's not going to be for everyone, but I already own it and I want to make sure that I get some use out of it, so I'm going to be pulling that one out. One of the ways they were keeping this Smoky Eye fresh was using pop of color or a different color under the lower lash line. And I embraced that for today's look, where I used that dark purple from the Marc Jacobs palette and I smoked out my lower lash line with that. It's a strong look, but I would definitely wear this look if I were going out to dinner or to a party or something. This is I think a beautiful, beautiful look. And it's also a great way to wear color. If you are nervous about wearing color, aren't sure about wearing like color on your lid, go ahead and embrace some color along your lower lash line, and it is just super pretty and can be very subtle and not overwhelming. So give that a try. So much to talk about around the eyes. There was so much focus on the eyes, and it really ran a lot of full spectrum, from this deep dark smoky look to the glitter to this just a blush of color. And this is stunning if you just want just a little touch of color, and you can give just a gentle wash of one color all over your lid. So this was represented in two ways. It was just a simple wash of color. I saw a lot of mauves and just light neutrals as a wash of color, but also just using a little bit of color color eyeliner and no other shadow on the eye, where you would just, you know, pick that color that you wanted. So it was just a little touch of color along your lash line or maybe the outer corner. And it is very subtle, totally wearable. That's a totally wearable work look. So there was also a lot of color represented in many of these looks that I saw, in particular green. So if you happen to have picked up the Emily Wants palette, which I know a lot of you have picked this up, she has a huge assortment of greens in this palette that would work. There's, you know, great green here, this green here, down here, even this black down here. I feel like it has a little touch of green. So pretty. Bring this out, play around with your greens. By the way, I do have a video already recorded on this with Kate, and spoiler alert, Kate did a green look in that video, which will be the one that probably goes up after this one. But if you want to play around with color, I'm pulling out this very controversial Subculture palette. This is like the quintessential fall palette. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I liked it. I think it's totally workable. There's some great greens in this that you could use. Aren't those pretty? But also, I love this mustardy color. And this was another color that I ended up seeing a lot of yellow, just yellow, nothing else, just yellow eyeshadow, which I think this is so much more wearable than just a bright yellow because it's a little bit deeper. It almost could be interpreted as like a tan. So this is such a great little palette. I'm so sorry that it had such a rocky start because I think it's really pretty terrific. And I'm definitely bringing this one out to play with it because it also has some beautiful shimmery shades in there. Before I leave the eyes, I want to talk about this new color that they were talking about. They call it, you know, like a gray brown or a taupey brown. Like, taupes are my love. I love a good taupe eyeshadow. And to know that this is really on trend is so awesome. So I went ahead and I just pulled a bunch of things that fall into this category because these are things that I'm going to want to use during the fall season. I'm going to start off with a couple of singles, and one I know is no longer available, but I have to say it's probably my all-time favorite eyeshadow color, and it's from CK1. It was a little single, and oh, can you read that? That's minuscule. I'll include that below once I can see this. It's like a purpley taupey brown. Whew. I just think this is so good. I do have at least one backup of this because it's to die for. But another one that falls into that category, I know a lot of you have, and it's Nutty by Wet n Wild. It's a great little taupe. It has a little bit of shimmer to it, but not too much. See what I like? See what I mean? This has like a little purpley to it. The Tarte Rainforest of the Sea, this shade here, which is Wave. That's a great one. From the Tarteist Pro palette, the shade Fierce and the shade Pro Fresh. These two I think would be excellent. You're not going to forget this Viseart palette, the Cool Mattes. This shade down here. Oh, God, that's so gorgeous. That's right there. Oh, love that. Whew. And if you have the It Cosmetics Naturally Pretty palette, you know this is a palette that I really love. I hear so many people bashing this, and it's so sad. I think it's misunderstood, but this Mocha is a great fall color. This is going to be a little bit more of a brown. I'm just thrilled. This is this is right in my wheelhouse, these little taupey things. Love them. So let's move on to lips. There are two things that I want to talk about in the lip category. The first lip thing I want to talk about is what they're calling a grunge lip. Now, a couple years ago, they had this grunge look, which was like all smeary, so it looked like you slept in your lipstick. But this year, it's more of a color, and it's more of like a brownish, burgundy, almost really a deep burgundy shade, which I think is totally wearable. This is a beautiful, just a beautiful, dark, rich shade for the fall. So the next lip trend I saw a lot of was this, what they're calling a power lip. And it's pretty much just what you think. It is a really like bright, powerful shade of lipstick. So they're looking at like a bright cherry or a really deep berry. And I think these are very, very wearable colors, all of these shades. The grungy shade look and this power look. So I chose to pair my look today with kind of a plummy look, and this one is a little sheer, but like I said, this is like stuff I'm just pulling from my collection. I'm not doing any additional shoppings. I have a pretty big lipstick collection, which I desperately need to declutter. It scares me. I don't know if I can do it. I have to do it. So as I was going through it, I actually tried to make sure that I was pulling products that are still available. So let's just get into it, why don't we? So for the grungy look, this is a color I found that really represented what I saw in my research, and it's the Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink in the color Escapist. It's number 45. And this has a lot of like a brown undertone to it. It's like a burgundy brown. I love the formula on these. The darker shades can go on a little patchy, so that's something to keep in mind, and you just need to really pay attention as you're applying them, but this is perfect for that grungy look. So the next shades I have are like these bright cherries, and the first one is an old standard. This is the Too Faced Melted in Melted Berry. So this is almost like it's like a reddish berry. Like, yeah, this is a really powerful color. This is definitely power lip color. Then from Makeup Revolution, I have No Perfection. Yes, that's a weird name. It's a little bit brighter. And then from Wet n Wild, I have Cherry Picking, which is really bright. Now let's go into some of those plummy shades. I should have thought ahead and made them smaller. I'm going to start out with a shade I'm wearing, which is Plum Velour from Revlon. It's the Super Lustrous. Such an easy color to wear. It's a little bit sheerer, but it does give you that nice dark plum look. And another one from the Revlon Super Lustrous line. This is Black Cherry. This could actually go in the grunge category. Let's swatch it over here with this grunge guy. Yeah, I think he could easily fall into that grungy category. Then I have the L'Oreal Infallible Paints, and this is in Sultry Sangria. So then I'm going to finish up with another one from the Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink line, and this is Believer. Doing these swatches left-handed, that's just, I'm not very coordinated on that side. The nice thing about these is because they're so long wearing and with these darker colors, there's that little bit of dry down, and so they aren't quite as high maintenance as just a regular bullet lipstick, which is something to think about when you're doing these like really dark, brilliant shades. So that wraps up my fall trends video. Certainly there were other trends that I didn't touch upon. I'm actually excited to maybe try and recreate some of those really beautiful eyeshadow looks. Maybe I'll make a bonus video. I don't know. We'll have to see how my time and schedule works out. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. It's one of my favorite videos to do each season. So if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to my channel, I publish videos every Saturday morning. I'll include a link to last week's video right up here. And I hope that you will hit the subscribe button and join me for future videos. Just click on this little bee icon. Thank you so much, and I'll see you real soon. Bye!